Hello everyone. Today I'm interviewing Lucy Mccarraher. Now we've had a few technical issues, so I'm going to wait for Lucy to come into the broadcast so I can share this to the right places while I'm waiting. Hi Lucy. Hi Lucy.
Hi, Mark.
Hi there. I'm sorry about the technical issues. Let's just go with the interview and see where we get. So, Lucy, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to speaking, being an author, and being a great publisher too?
Well, I started off in publishing. I've been in in a range of different kinds of career all my life, but I suppose I've always been an entrepreneur. So I started my first publishing company, publishing a theatre magazine when I was still at university, and I happened to be in Australia at the time. So that also led to me having a TV career there because I got my own sort of arts and entertainment show. And for both the magazine and for the TV, I got to interview people like Mel Gibson and Judy Davis and Derek Jacobi and Dame Edna Everage, and that was quite an exciting time. Then I came back to the UK and I started working in TV and video there, and I was really on the other side of the camera. That's when I started doing a lot of writing. I wrote TV scripts and things. I wrote a children's TV serial that Naomi Harris was in, set in Martinique, which was a very good gig to have because we spent 3 summers out there. And then I kind of segued into work-life balance, which was totally unplanned, but it was a new area at the time. And I wrote a couple of books on work-life balance, and that was what really turned me into a speaker, because then I got asked to talk on this, interesting new subject of work-life balance. And I found myself, giving presentations to government and local authorities and big companies like Microsoft and Virgin and Lloyd's and HSBC. So that's where I started speaking. I kind of I didn't really feel it was my natural habitat at the time. I don't. I always felt a bit of an imposter talking about work-life balance because I'd fallen into it by mistake. But then I sort of fell out of it again and started writing novels, which I did some speaking around. Um, and then I wrote a book called The Real Secret, which was published by a company called Bookshaker. And the owner of Bookshaker was a guy called Joe Gregory, who I discovered actually lived very close to me. And we met up and we started working together. I went to work for him at Bookshaker on the publishing side. And then we started Rethink Press together. And then things have really taken off since then in terms of me becoming a speaker about writing and publishing books. And that's a very nice place for me to be because I really enjoy talking about that, and it all ties in together.
Well, it's a really exciting journey what you've been on, and it must have meant to be that you will be a speaker because you're having such success now, Lucy. Can I ask you, why do you think it's great for a speaker to have a book to enhance their speaking businesses?
Well, I think the two really go together. If when you write a book, especially if it's about what you do, your business or whatever, it really is an amazing self development process. Even if nobody ever reads your book, even if you never publish it, to do that writing, it gives you huge clarity. You have to actually really work out what your business does, why it does it, how you do it. You really have to go into detail. And often when people are writing their books about their business, they find that it changes and that their business becomes bigger and better because they realize through unpacking it in the writing process, that actually what they do is brilliant, and they're sitting on a mountain of value. And so the writing works really well. And then when you've got it all written out, it's like you've got this massive archive in your head. And if anybody asks you to speak on any relevant subject, it's all just there. You can repurpose bits of your book. You can pick bits out of it, and it's not only sort of there on paper. It just, once you've written it down, well, I find this anyway, it stays in your head. And if anybody, asks you a sudden question, you've always got the answer because you've written it, and, sort of made it concrete, if you like. But also there's another thing about speaking and writing, which is that if you have a book, you are instantly seen as an acknowledged expert in your field. And people will ask you to speak once you've got a book out. It just, people say, oh yes, you're the authority. This person has written a book. They must be the expert in their field. So let's get them to speak. And you can use your book as a business card. You can send it to the people where you want to get speaking gigs, the people who organize stuff. So it's just on every level, speaking and writing are a fantastic sort of virtuous circle.
You made so many great tips there. You really did touch on a lot of great points. Like, one, it is a little bit like therapy, especially when you're writing out your own personal story. And you just made such great points of how it makes you become an authority. And also what I really taken from that was how you have got all that content in your head when you are on stage, because you've written it. It really is clear in your mind. So that is a real great point. Lucy, could I ask you, could you give us some tips of what advice would you give to any new aspiring speakers that want to get moving in their speaking business, who might find it a little bit difficult? How can you encourage them a little bit to start moving forwards?
Do you mean in terms of actually getting speaking gigs, or sort of daring to do it and putting themselves out there? Or do you mean in terms of actually becoming a better speaker?
I think in terms of just people being a bit more focused, and they're aspiring to speak, or they're new speakers feeling a little bit stuck, just a word of wisdom of where you can give them some advice, because it can be a hard industry at times, can't it, Lucy?
No, it is tough, and I think the thing to do is to start small. So when I wrote my novels, I mean, I gave loads of talks, and I had to put myself out there and find out how to do this. At local libraries. I mean, I've literally talked about my novel to two old ladies sitting there listening, but it's all really, really good experience. I've spoken to women's institutes, I've spoken to little local clubs, and I think that builds your confidence, because when you go to unpaid but very enthusiastic groups to talk to them, to audiences who really want to know what you've got to say, you get that very positive feedback. Everybody's willing you to succeed. They don't expect you to be a wonderful polished speaker. They just want to hear about your experience or your knowledge or what you've done and what you've got to say. And I think if you can sort of start with those and get confidence from the smaller places, then you can start looking around for, possibly paid speaking gigs if you've got a business, speaking gigs in your industry. So, start small and get confident and know your material. I think that's one of the things that's really important, is to not learn your talks off by heart, but to know the material well, to feel comfortable with it. So you're not, you don't want to be reading your stuff. You don't want to be reading from PowerPoint slides or whatever. You want to feel just comfortable, so you know that whatever you say is authoritative and real. And so I would, one of my tips is to imagine people asking you questions, because you know the answers to those questions, especially if they're about you or your business or your area of whatever it is. So have your talk in your head as a series of answers to questions that you imagine people have asked you. And I think that can make you feel more comfortable and relaxed when you're talking to an audience.
Great tips there, Lucy. And I think in the beginning I did everything you just said don't do, as in reading off your PowerPoint, because I was petrified I would forget what I was saying. But it's all about getting the experience in the beginning. So some great points there, Lucy. Lucy, can I ask you, what's next for Lucy? What are you working on right now?
Oh gosh, I'm incredibly busy with Rethink Press at the moment, because I'm not only the managing editor of Rethink Press. I also am the publish mentor of the Dent Key Person of Influence program. So I give a lot of workshops and mentoring to many entrepreneurs who go through Key Person of Influence on getting their books planned and written. And we are just moving in. Dent also run KPI, Key Person of Influence, in Australia. And there is we're just sort of moving into Australia with Rethink Press, combined with Key Person of Influence. So there's a lot to do on that. And we'll be, I'm expecting a lot of Australian authors to come through to publish with Rethink Press now. So that's all very exciting. I also set up the Business Book Awards last year, and we had our first major award presentation event in March this year, which was really exciting. It was just fantastic. We had such great winners, and we had such a great awards event evening. It was terrific. So now you think, oh well, that's over for the year. We can sort of relax for a bit, but actually, of course, you have to keep going and start planning for next year's awards now. So that's all busy. And yes, so that's just a lot of balls in the air at the moment, a lot of juggling to do. I would like to sit down and take some time and write another book, but I just don't have the time at the moment, which is exactly what I tell my authors, to do. They've got to make the time to do it. So I probably should take my own advice.
It sounds like you've got plenty to keep you busy there, Lucy, anyway, so it's great to be busy. Lucy, I know you've got a great thing where you would like to have people send their ideas of stories to you. So can you just tell me about that a little bit, please?
Yes, sure. I mean, if somebody is interested in writing a business book, they're very welcome to get in touch with me. What I'd probably want to know is about them and their brand and their business, and then I can help them turn the valuable information they've got and the work that they do, turn that into a well-structured book, which will work as I said, as their authority piece and as a great business card, and as a lead generator for their business. But you have to do that. You have to write a good book. You have to get it beautifully designed, and you have to get it well published for it to really work. So I'm certainly very happy to hear from anybody who's interested in doing that, and see if I can help them get it off the ground for them.
Brilliant. Well, at the end, I'll make sure that we get your contact details in case anyone wants to send in their book idea to you. Now, also, I know you've got an amazing retreat, a book retreat coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Lucy?
Oh yes, no, this is very exciting. So in a month's time, starting on the 1st of July for 3 days, we're running a book writing retreat, and it's in this lovely hotel in the heart of the Norfolk countryside. Because this is exactly what I was saying before. You often find that if you're trying to write a book, you just don't have time to disconnect from all the other things that are that interrupt you from the writing process. And there are just people I know who want to get away and spend 3 days working on their book. There'll be four of us there, me and Joe, my business partner, and a couple of our brilliant writing coaches. And we're there to just give as much or as little coaching input. I can do planning work with people, just over 3 days, where people can simply concentrate on their book. And some people will be there just to get a lot of writing done. Some people will be there at the start of their journey thinking, how can I turn my ideas into a well-planned book? So there's a few places left on the retreat. It's going to be a really interesting time. I think the other great thing about going on this kind of retreat is you're surrounded by a small group of people who are all focused on getting their book written. And, you know, they will all sort of stay in touch and be an accountability group for each other. And encourage each other, and have great ideas also about each other's books. So I think it will be I'm really looking forward to it myself. I think it's going to be a really exciting time for a group of people to really get their book out there, to get the ideas clarified, to get some writing done. And actually, if people come on this retreat, even just without having even started their book yet, if they follow the process that we can take people through, you could have your book out and published by the end of this year. So that's a carrot to dangle in front of people, that you possibly had an idea for a book for ages and just not got around to doing it, or found the time, or got the plan out there. And if you come on a retreat and work one-to-one, or with us, it's just a great way to do it and get started and get moving or get finished.
Definitely, because when I was writing my book, you have it in your daily plan to start doing some writing every day, and it's so easy to think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and put it off. So I think having that retreat and laser focusing, that would be absolutely amazing, Lucy. I think we may have lost you at the end, Lucy, but the interview has come to an end anyway. So what I will ask you to do, Lucy, my last, you could write in the comments of how people can contact you, and put in any links, what you want to put in. People can connect with you, but we managed to get to the end of the interview, so I'm happy about that. And Lucy will pop in the comment section how people can get hold of her and get in touch with her. And if you would like to go on to the retreat with Lucy, go onto the link and connect with her. I've had a great time chatting to Lucy today. I've lost her just at the end, but the interview was finished. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you very, very soon.